welcome to the AFC East Shakedown. I am so happy right now. I'm pumped up. Like I said, I am hosting the AFC East Shakedown. Thank you so much, Curtis, for allowing me to do this. This is going to be a great show, giving me the steering wheel so I can lead this show this afternoon. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Yeah, don't sweat it. You can't screw it up any more than I do every week, dude. So you got like a low bar to cross over. You can limbo.
Can't get worse, right?
A mile-high limbo, dude.
I'm very, very pumped. I'm very, very excited. But let me start with introducing everybody. My top left, Curtis on Ace Per Head, some of the greatest content for
Melonhead
Dolphins.
Curtis.
In the middle up top, Tommy from Mafia Sports Report, very good content. Anthony representing the Jets Life podcast, and Zach at Pats Today. Everybody here has great content, good insight on their team. There's a lot to talk about. Trades, news. Did any of these teams reach a little too much? I don't know. We're going to talk about it.
Anthony.
There's a lot to dissect. The past week of what?
Not for our Dolphins.
not for the Dolphins yet, but we'll see. But let's dive right into it. We're going to recap last week's games, and you know what? Let's just start with the Bills and the Jets. Let's get right to it.
Ooh.
Bills sneaking out 23-20. Let's start. Let's just start with Curtis. Let's start with Curtis. What did you think about this game?
I thought I made the right prediction until the Jets screwed me over, man. That was like handed to them. You know, I was going to look smart for a change, and then they jacked me, man. But, you know, seriously, though, if you go back and watch that game, you'll notice that it was almost at a certain point a battle of who was going to have the smarter game plan, who was going to be under center. If you notice, the teams that were under center and handed that football off had success on almost every play. Unfortunately, Anthony, your Jets had to do Mr. Shotgun Fun Ball with the flea flicker junk behind it. Thank you, Jose. And screw me over, dude. It's so obvious that when you're under center, the defenses have a different response. And it gives you an opportunity to run that football with a little bit more success, add a little more physicality. And the Jets, they have that weakness on the internal A gap, B gap. I think the Bills do too. But the Jets just didn't want to expose it. If you notice the first couple of drives, they were under center, they were in shotgun, they were pounding the ball inside, and then they just decided to let's get finesse, outside. And it was, I hate to say it's a shame because I despise ball teams. I mean, I got to sit here and listen to you guys talk about winning, and I got to talk about losing over here. But it was such an obvious recipe, and so both teams were extraordinarily sloppy, which I liked because it shows they hate each other. And it made me feel like old football, like people really cared. They cared enough to actually hate each other. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. But the Jets could have blew a golden opportunity. And I think it was there for them. On the downside, I think with their trade additions, and I think if they just get some kind of – they don't decide to do a Hackett thing all over again. They'll figure it out and start going on to center some more. I think they're going to be a pretty good team. But I just don't know if they can get out of their own way, So That's my 5 cents.
All right, we're going to jump to Anthony. Anthony, what were your thoughts on this one? This was a tough one. There was opportunities there for the Jets to seal first place, but – what were you thinking?
Yeah, all right. So, going into this game, obviously I had a little bit of confidence, new play caller. Thought they'd come in with a little bit of a spark with the new head coach, interim head coach coming in. And I did feel like that spark was there, particularly in the first 2 drives, getting downfield. It's just one of those issues with this offense. It's a continuing issue of just shooting yourself in the foot, making a mistake in critical situations. On the very first drive, they had Breece Hall in the flat for what would have been a first down. Was the throw perfect? No, but it was in range. He should have caught it. He was right at the sticks, get a first down. and keep that momentum going. And obviously they were moving the ball to the very next drive, went down, scored the game's first touchdown. Their first touchdown of the game. Yeah, everything seemed to be operating well on offense. And then in the middle of the game, they were moving the ball very effectively in between the 20s. Where I feel like they kind of faltered and failed in this game was obviously inside the red area. Got to give props to Taylor Rapp. I mean, that guy was all over the field for the Bills on Monday. Made a few big plays. But continuing with the poor critical area type of mistakes, Breece Hall had a huge run in the middle of the game. I think it was in the third quarter, and he's one-on-one with Taylor Rapp, and a player of his caliber, you would think in a one-on-one situation right there, maybe cut it inside and try and beat him for the touchdown. Taylor Rapp was in good position. I understand that, but instead he kind of ducks out of bounds and just kind of avoids making that big play. And I think that was a drive that we had to settle for a field goal and ended up missing. So just these small things that happened throughout the course of the game that the Jets were one play away all day long. I mean, after the Rodgers Hail Mary touchdown, they were one play away, but just kept shooting themselves in the foot. And I think I just saw another flag get thrown. That was a terrible, terrible second half. I was very, very frustrated at the end of the first half. I felt like that last Bills drive, there was a couple of questionable calls that the referees were making on that touchdown. And then I felt like in the second half, it was identified that maybe those flags weren't maybe a little unbiased. Then I feel like the referees felt like they had to correct it and throw a flag on every single play. It was a flag fest. It was awful. I don't think the second half was one way or the other. I think the referees were just trying to make it seem like, we were calling a fair game in the first, and calling that last drive fairly and trying to correct themselves. It was just a poor play. But yeah, the Jets seem to get themselves better in the red zone, and I think a huge addition this week should help them in that area as we move forward.
Yeah, Jose, I gotta say something. I've totally I should have said something about that. I could not believe that a guy like Hall couldn't get that touchdown. I mean, he just ran straight and tried to drag his man. He could have just bent it a little bit, spun off him, bend it a little bit, get the stiff arm, cut it back, anything. It was just like, let me just get as many yards as I can and get pushed out of bounds. That shows me the difference between the great backs of the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s. And now he's considered one of the best backs. It's one play, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, what?
I couldn't believe it either.
What?
I was saying, you have all this room. You're one-on-one. Just cut inside and see what happens.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be partially just because he hasn't had any opportunities at doing that this year, though. Like when you're this far, I know we're not week 12 right now, but when you're that far into the season and haven't really had anything going for you, even as a player of that caliber, that's got to be tough. And I feel like that's got to be something mental where he's trying to just go.
Oh, dude, but that's a peewee move, dude. Even in the peewee.
No, I know. I know.
Like what?
Still. I know.
Sorry, guys. That got
Tommy. Zach's trying to give us pity points. I appreciate it, Zach.
What were you thinking, Tommy? You sneak out the win. What's your thoughts?
I think you guys are wrong. Listen, the Jets didn't give that game away. We almost gave that game away. Are you insane? Did you not watch the fucking game, guys? Sorry I had to use the F-bomb, but we were up 20-10. We were about to go in halftime. Nice cushion lead until our Mick Dummy, the campfire coach, the one that wants to sing songs at the campfire, decided to rush two multiple times and allow one of the best Hail Mary quarterbacks in the NFL to have all the time in the world at the 50-yard line to throw a perfect ball. And then our defenders are all behind the receiver. It was just, we almost gave the game away. Not the Jets. Stop with that one. I thought we were
did a good job on that one because you guys had him boxed out.
Stop. Listen, you can't rush to. Even Aaron Rodgers post game said, "Well, they only rushed two. Gave me all the time in the world." Dude, you can't do that. That is absolutely on McDermott. You cannot rush only 2 and cover the boundaries. Why are you even covering the boundaries? Why aren't you having your receivers in there, like the taller receivers, like Keon Coleman, to knock the ball down? Like that whole play, that whole sequence was trash. That took me back to the 13 seconds all over again. McDermott is like, he crumbles in those moments, and it shows every time. And God forbid if that was the end of an important playoff game, that's how it goes. So that's why I stress with my coach, because he shit like that. But anyways, I thought we played, I'll be honest with you. Look, the Jets have a very good defense, one of the best. Their rush defense is okay. But overall, though, they are close to elite as you can get. That was the best defense the Bills have played all year so far, in my opinion. And for us not really having anyone on offense, Khalil Shakir was there, I'll be honest with you, more as a decoy. You could tell he wasn't right. His ankle's not right. But we had to have him out there. Ray Davis, salute to Ray, man. That dude ran physical, strong all night.
Yeah.
Was crazy.
Yeah, dude, and he's a workhorse, so that's going to be a good 1-2 punch. I'm glad they got to see, because I was always up on Ray Davis. I thought Ray Davis eventually was going to take some snap counts away from James Cook, and I believe they're going to start using them more as a 1-2 punch now that they can see what he can do. So, but I thought Josh Allen played pretty solid ball considering who he has. By the way, 0 interceptions through 6 weeks. It's really impressive.
Technically, though, but there was a couple.
It don't matter. It don't matter. But on the stat sheet, he has 0 interceptions, Curtis. Like, you can call it techno all you want. 0.
Where's my rose-colored glasses, man? Somebody get them. I forgot where I put them on. I need to put them on someplace.
But look, man, other than that, we held the Jets to 6 points in the second half. Okay? They held us to, 3 points as well. So, it was a back-and-forth game. It was sloppy. The refs, I felt like, were atrocious. I thought the roughing the passer on Rodgers was ridiculous. The roughing passer on Josh Allen was ridiculous. Aaron Rodgers even once again said after the game, that's crazy. I can't believe that was a roughing passer on me. So I don't know what the refs were doing. They were calling even the Matt Collins pass interference way overthrown, on not catchable. So the refs, shame on them. They did terrible. But it seems like you guys, the Jets, are, because we don't get involved in these kind of games. It seems like now the Jets back-to-back games, y'all have like crazy amount of penalties, whatever team you're playing. So I don't know if it's just your bad luck or what, but I thought, listen, man, at the end of the day, we won. A W is a W, no matter how the game went. We added a piece, which we'll talk about later, that will really help this offense out. But I thought, for as limited as we were on offense, we played very well against your defense. And I think your team is still struggling a little bit there to find your way on offense. And maybe it'll help now with Adams. So that's my thought on that.
All right. Well, thank you, Tommy. Zach, we're going to get your input, and then we're going to double back on you, starting with the Patriots Texans. But go ahead and start with your thoughts on the Jets and Bills there.
Yeah, my favorite NFL stat stays alive. Tom Brady still has a 300-yard passing game more recently than Aaron Rodgers. Love that.
Wow.
Ouch, Anthony.
I was watching the numbers throughout. I saw Rodgers was at like 200 at half. I thought it was over, but we came out on top. And by we, I mean just me.
Zach.
Anyways, lost my train of thought there for a second. I kind of said last week I thought that this would be a bit of a bounce back game for both teams, and there was obviously some worse parts on both sides of the ball, both sidelines, I guess, both teams. But for the most part, I do think that kind of held true. Bills played pretty good football. Jets played pretty good football. I know, again, the Jets lost, but I still think that in a way it's good for Jets fans seeing them be able to stay with the team as good as the Bills. And even though that record is 2-4, right?
Yeah.
2-4. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, 2-4, but if they can make a late push, they are going to be able to kind of stick around with the Bills or maybe the Chiefs Ravens potentially. So that's got to be encouraging to see, even if it didn't end up so well. And obviously, again, Devontae Adams, I know we didn't talk about it too much, but we did touch on it. That's got to be good, just helping the offense get a little bit of a spark as they needed. That defense is going to be fine. It's just the offense needs something. Aaron Rodgers got his guy. We'll see if how much that actually helps in 2024 if Devontae Adams is still Devontae Adams, if Aaron Rodgers can go back to being Aaron Rodgers. But it's got to be encouraging just for Jets fans. And really, it all kind of depends on this week and seeing, or I guess these coming weeks, seeing how they're able to flip the switch. Again, no Saleh, of course. So the changes on the coaching staff and the changes personnel wise with the players, just these next few weeks are going to be massive for the Jets.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to double back to you, Zach. We're going to cover the Patriots, Texans, some interesting stuff. Despite the score, it was interesting to see. We kind of touched on this. I believe you were off that week, whether the Patriots should pull the trigger starting Drake May. If it was too early, what would we do? So interesting that the Patriots made the call to start Drake May. And I think there was some nice things that we saw in this game with Drake May, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, May played for the most part really well, especially, I mean, his first start, of course, and he's a rookie. Things are going to happen, but going up against a Texans defense that's probably top 5 in the league, if not, they're pretty close to top 5. It's definitely very encouraging to see. His first pick was pretty bad. He just sailed it right over, I believe it was Pop Douglas. But again, things are going to happen. It's just a rookie mistake. It was like his 10th ever throw in the NFL, his first start in the NFL. It's going to happen. Second interception was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It was a screen pass that got like batted up, went flying, and then one of the defenders like mossed Austin Hooper, caught it fully around his helmet. Don't know how that happens. I don't think that whoever picked it off, I don't remember. I don't think they could do it again in a million years if they tried. That was just wild. But really, Drake May's stat line shows the ups and downs. The 3 touchdowns were great. The first one to Kayshon Boutte just laid it right where it had to be. Derek Stingley in coverage, by the way, so one of the best corners in the league, and Drake May hit Boutte in stride.
Boutte.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say it. Yeah.
We love Boutte here in the AFC East.
We love Boutte. Yeah.
But yeah, by the way, Kayshon Boutte has really emerged himself as a pretty good receiver on this Patriots offense in these last few weeks. Training camp, he was like a bubble guy. He had a good spring. Summer took a little bit of a step back, still is looking pretty good. Kind of seemed like he barely made the roster, and now these last few weeks he's been leading the team in snaps. So that's encouraging to see. Hopefully he can keep that up and be a reliable target for Drake May. Speaking of reliable targets, Demario Douglas had a heck of a game. I believe he set a career high in receptions, receiving yards, and he had his first career touchdown. So that's encouraging to see. He's going to be a great safety blanket guy who's kind of always open. And he hasn't really shown the pop that, well, his nickname is Pop. He's Pop Douglas. He hasn't shown the pop too much this year, but that's just because he's had Brissett throwing to him, who hasn't really been able to find him. But Drake May established a connection very early on. So against a Jacksonville defense, I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but against Jacksonville defense this week that is very bad against the pass, that's going to be a fun connection to see. And then just real quick, defensively for the Patriots, it was bad. There's no silver lining there. It was just pretty awful. Joe Mixon seemed like he was always open in the receiving game. Tank Dell kind of seemed like he was always open. Just nothing nothing that could go right did go right. Christian Gonzalez probably had the worst game of his career, which, I mean, he let up like 4 receptions, but that for his standards is pretty bad. So again, just need to fix everything on defense. There's been a ton of injuries, so it's not necessarily something that's completely the fault of the players or the coaches, but they need to figure something out there, because this is a team that should be led by their defense, and for now, that has not happened.
Real quick, Zach, what was your thoughts on? I didn't see the status of Jacoby Brissett before this game. I don't know if he was hurt or not, but what was your thoughts about the Patriots pulling the trigger on Drake May?
Yeah, so I'd also I did talk about it last week a bit, but I'll go back to it. I, before the game, thought that it was kind of stupid, in all honesty. My thought was that, first of all, at the beginning of the season, my thought was keep Drake May out for as long as you can. This offensive line is horrible. The receiving room is not very good. He is going to die if he goes back there. And then once they made the announcement last week, my thoughts were kind of similar, but it was also, why not start him against Miami, who doesn't have that great of a defense?
Wait a minute. All right.
People upset here, Zach.
Oh man, dude! If
I like it. Zach's true. Zach is right.
Kids are like evil or dumb or something.
I agree, Zach.
What is?
I was just not ready to say. I kind of like
a little shim in there for a second.
Wow.
Woo! Shut it down now, man.
I forgot what show I was on. I forgot we had the
Whoa! Yeesh, might as well start talking bad about Dan Marino. Hold on.
I thought maybe they should start him against a Dolphins defense that is very good and definitely but not nearly as good as the Texans defense.
There you go, man. Look at this kid.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm adapting.
Oh,
yeah.
Growing up right before my eyes. Gonna be president of the United States soon.
Or I thought that they should potentially have, we all knew the Patriots were going to lose that game. Have Jacoby Brissett start against the Texans, put Drake May in for cleanup duty, and then start him against the Jaguars defense, which hopefully I don't get backlash for this one. But I would also say that the Jaguars defense is pretty bad, especially their pass defense. So that was kind of my thought. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't the AFC South roundtable.
All right.
Curtis,
go ahead, Zach. You can finish up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick. I didn't love the decision, but after seeing how he played, like I can't be mad at it anymore. He did all that he had to do, so I'm A-okay with it.
Curtis, what are you thinking? We're finally seeing a little snippet of the seed that the Patriots are hoping that will grow. What did you think? It's super early, but what'd you think?
Well, I just want to say I'm recovering emotionally from the assault on my team, but I'm going to forgive you because I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. So I'm going to move past this, not easily, but I will move past this. So basically, I think May's got a lot of talent, which bothers me. I think that Brissett, when you look at him, the guy, this is you ever watch Enter the Dragon? And he fights he fights the guy with the hand. I can't remember his name. And there's one scene where Bruce Lee speed roundhouse kicks him to the side of the head, and he gets up like this, and he's struggles to get himself up. And that's kind of how I feel about Brissett over the last couple of weeks. This guy has taken so many hits. And it was like he's digging to the core of his soul just to get up for one more play. And I think they just said, you know what, we got to do a mercy killing. This guy is going to die on the field if he takes any more hits like this. So let's put May in. And I thought you had a very cogent point for a guy who doesn't know anything about defense there, Zach, the Dolphins defense, when you said that they should have kind of like played it to the end of the week and said, hey, maybe Brissett's gone. I thought that was really smart, but I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the bits of it. But this team is really not in a good place, but it's got itself set up with some core pieces. And the fact that they're losing is going to get them a better draft status and give them the opportunity to build around some real – Gonzalez is really good. White is really good. Bentley, when he gets in here, is really good. I don't think it'll ship off Uche. I like Onwenu a lot. I think he's better at guard than tackle.
Yep.
And May, I think, is showing some stuff. At this stage, it's not really about winning. It's just like not looking like you just wet your pants and then wiped a dirty diaper on your face. And he didn't do that. He looked like a guy who is not – he doesn't have the team, but he pulled it together. I don't know if it's going to happen for multiple weeks. So you're not going to win that game, but you showed spunk. You showed an ability to hang with the better team. And I think there are some – good core pieces around a very bad defense, my head. And so I think that you're heading in the right direction. And, there's a lot more to go through this. I think May's got to stay healthy. He can't get beat so bad that he starts building bad protocols. But overall, I was very impressed. I was like you. I said, I don't think May should get a starting shot until like late in the season or like at the end of the games. So he did surprise me, which I'm not happy about. So overall, I think, good showing despite the loss. And really, you're not going anywhere. So try to get as good a draft pick as you can and look as good as you can doing it. Yeah. And that's a win.
Yeah.
Yep.
If they just real quick, if they get, let's say the number 1 pick, number 2, number 3, or even somewhere in the top 5, and they're going to take a tackle. I know there's been like, oh, they should get Travis Hunter. That's not going to happen. That shouldn't happen. If they can get a top pick, trade down, still get a top tackle, and 2 extra first round picks or whatever the haul is going to be for that, this team could be legit in a few years.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wish my guy had done something like that. We had so many picks, you just got to spend them. Hey, you know what? You got so many picks, spend 2 or 3 on each guy. Whatever. Who cares? Doesn't matter.
All lottery tickets, man. It's all lottery tickets.
Yep. Anthony, what did you think? We saw the unveiling of Drake May. Tough task against the Texans. What did you think?
Yeah, so, no surprise here. We all kind of predicted a lopsided affair here between Texans and the Patriots. But I think Drake May kind of showed up in a pretty good way for his debut. As Zach mentioned, those couple interceptions. One was, we could label as a bonehead, but it was, one of his first, few reads as a quarterback in the NFL with an actual game plan on the other side. And he made some nice throws. His stat line overall is positive. It's first game of the year. A lot to be excited about. But I was one to say that, I think that he would be in sooner rather than later. I know that we're all playing like the cautious side and saying like they should hold him off. But, at some point in time, you keep losing. You drafted a guy 3rd overall. You got to see what he's got. They threw him in there, and so far, it looks like he's got something. So we'll see how he progresses. But, yeah, I don't think there's so much of a shock with the actual results in this game. Big win by the Houston.
Yep. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, Zach, you want to answer that question before I go?
I
don't know what your salary is.
I was just looking it up. I think it's around 90-ish million.
No, I just checked. It said 123, 133, and then 222 over the next 3 seasons.
That also could be right. I have no idea. I don't know it. Looks like it's different on every website, but anywhere in that 90 to 120 range, I suppose. It's gonna be.
I went over the cap.
It's gonna be top 5 in the league, top 3.
Rub it in my face, would you? Why not? Why don't you just call my defense garbage and say you're the rich man in the division? When you come on this channel just to kick me in the groin or something? Is that how it works nowadays, Zach?
I guess so.
Just kick the guy in the groin.
My bad.
Supposedly is his channel. I see.
You're wrong.
These days.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, man, I thought the Patriots would put up a little bit more of a fight, especially on the defensive side of things. Giving up 41 points at home. I get you guys, have some injuries you're dealing with, but my God, like, that was bad. Like 41, you shouldn't allow 41 at home. But I thought the rookie looked good. He made some mistakes, rookie mistakes early on, which is going to happen, and it will happen this year. But you got to look at, obviously, the positive side of what he did out there, and it was good stuff. He looked way better. He probably gave Patriots fans more hope than anything, at least moving forward, that they drafted the right guy after seeing what they saw in that game. But yeah, I told you it was a matter of time for at least Brissett to find himself on the bench. He's a good backup. He's a journeyman. He's a tough guy. But he's not going to lead any team anywhere. And it was smart, though. It was a smart, decision to get him on that team, to get him to be the starter, to start as many games as he can until the wheels fell off. And that's what happened ultimately. And he was just taking punishment. I think it was also, too, that he was just beat up, man. And I think the coaching staff probably saw that, too. This guy's getting just slaughtered out there. So it was time for May to get his shot. And May did some good things out there. So, listen, I don't think you guys are going to win many games this year. And like Curtis said, that's a good thing. You want to get yourself in the top 5 draft, maybe possibly, like you said, trade down, acquire more draft picks. That's the way to do it. Build your offensive line, because clearly that is a problem. Get some more key weapons through a free agency now that you have money, and then now you're talking. So right now, man, if I were you, I would just Patriots fans, just look at the rookie, see how he does this year for the remainder of the year. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt, right? And build around him. That's all you can do.
Yep. So
Tommy, I didn't believe. Hopefully, he doesn't get hurt. I kind of felt like that.
I have to say that because the offensive line
he popped up on the injury report this week.
I don't want any. I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad for anyone getting hurt. Like I don't know if you guys saw the injury to Hutchinson, the Lions.
Oh, that was terrible.
Dude, like I listen, I may hate certain teams or whatever, but I would never wish like that. Like that's brutal, especially for a rookie or a player that's doing really good things.
Meanwhile, Tommy in his back drawer's got a Drake May, Tua, and Rodgers voodoo doll that he sticks in before every week.
My basement, I throw darts at them.
The freezer.
I do. And that camera to the left. We'll see.
I have voodoo, right? That's what I'm doing over here. You got it. Like Tua, right before I played, broke his neck. Go ahead.
I looked up. Pat's Cap is at Pat's Cap on Twitter or X. He's like the most reliable salary cap guy for the Patriots. He has it. He knows what he's doing. He has it projected at over 150 at 117 after making restricted free agent tenders and signing practice squatters to futures deals. So that's about where it'd be, is like over 115.
I do want to say though, hopefully, just because you got money doesn't mean you'll get the right talent in. That's when a good.
I knew it. The knives came out.
It's the truth.
Good.
It's the truth. Listen, it's reality.
No, he's not wrong, and
it's reality.
We saw it this year too, especially because the Patriots had money in free agency this past year as well. Just because we have the money doesn't mean that players want to come here. It takes two sides. Takes two sides to make a deal. So even in the case of I know this is a trade, but he had his option is close to free agency pretty much. Even in the case of like Brandon Ayuk, the Patriots. I'm not a Patriot officially. The Patriots offered him the most money, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't want to come to New England and play for at the time Jacoby Brissett. So just because they have the money doesn't mean that anything could come of it. But you gotta hope that.
Yeah, that, and look at all the bad contracts around the league, Jack.
You don't build a team on free agents unless the Dolphins and trade.
You got to be real careful, man. I mean, look at all the fire sales going around the NFL right now, trying to clear cap space, and they, I'm sure their fans are like, man, look at all the money we spent. Woo! And now they're shipping them all away. So, for nothing, for absolutely nothing. Cleveland ate Amari Cooper's contract basically to trade him because they knew nobody would be willing to take the contract. And so we got him under a mill.
That wasn't even a like that bad of contract though. That's just that Cleveland.
No, it wasn't. But they ate it. But they still. Yeah.
No,
but
you're right.
They had no choice. They ate pretty much all of it. And there's another team too that did the same thing. They ate. I forget what player it was, but they ate the contract so they can move on with them. So there's a lot of players going to be shipped off by the deadline, man. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot.
About bad contracts, we can stay in Cleveland though and just go with Deshaun. I mean, that's
dude.
Oh, man. Dolphin fans told me that if you don't get Watson, you're doomed.
Oh, I remember that.
He goes to the massage parlor.
Right.
I remember as a Patriot because that was like, right after Brady had left, hoping that we would get him, and then kind of everything comes out, and it's like the way that all of that shaped out is just insane. First, all of the off the field stuff, and then him coming back and just being bad at football. Like,
what a crazy turn of events.
It looks even worse that Baker Mayfield looks like a real quarterback down in Tampa.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's wild, man, what's going on. Some of these teams, look at Raiders. The Raiders, the Browns, the Jets. I'm sorry. Who else is bad? Who else is doing all that stuff?
Anthony, you're just gonna take that?
Arnold, man, with the Vikings.
The Jets are bringing players in. I don't know what you're talking about.
You guys are. Listen, I always say desperate teams make desperate moves, and there's a lot of them out there. I'm not saying the Jets are this super desperate team, but you guys have proven over the years a little dysfunction over there. By the way, you're not getting Bill Belichick ever because he threw a pretty.
I said we wouldn't. I said
no, but did you hear the halftime where he just threw your owner? He just threw a spike in your owner. Oh my God! So dude. Yeah, he does not like. I still say. I know we're off topic, but I still think Bill Belichick winds up in New York if Dable gets fired. He definitely wants to play in New York. Giants. No, I'm sorry, Jersey.
Dude, you guys should hire Flores with that defense. And he'd be able to do some really good stuff with that defense.
No, I don't want
Dolphins could hire him after they fire McDaniel.
Yeah.
Oh.
You don't like Flores?
Real quick, I'll get on this because I want to get on this real quick and then do a preview of the Patriots Jags before Zach has got to leave.
Zach has to
but
go.
I'm going to touch on this real quick. There was 2 trades that happened this past week. The New York Jets have traded for
New Jersey Jets.
New York. It's about New York City, man.
It's the New York Jets.
By New York City.
For Devontae Adams.
Last I checked, do the Buffalo Bills play in Buffalo?
They
it's the Miami Falcons. They're right by Florida. So, the Tampa Bay Falcons.
The Buffalo Bills have traded for Amari Cooper. Real quick, I would like to make this real quick as far as I'm going to ask everybody on the panel here. Was it a reach or do you see this moving the indicator a little bit? Curtis, go ahead. What do you think? Jets, Bills.
Curtis.
I mean, what they paid for it, like if you look, they needed both the Jets and the Bills. They've got an offensive line, although the Jets I don't think they're maximizing the talent. They've got the quarterbacks that they've been looking for. They've got defenses. They even have some, Shakir's a good player. Kincaid's a good player. Wilson's a good player. Even the yellow tight end that the Jets have, he's not bad as a low end guy. Mm-hmm. So you bring in the primary guy for like basically a song and a dance. And really, McDermott's got to do something this year. He can't just lay low. He's got to have some success. And obviously with the Jets, they're all in. And you're not killing yourself. I mean, the Jets, it's a little bit maybe pricey because I think it can get up to a second-round pick. But I think it was a smart move. You can't.
He's an all-pro. I mean, if you're paying a second-round pick for an all-pro receiver, I'm pretty sure it's probably worth it.
Yeah. You know, if he's an all-pro and you kind of get bumped out in the first round of the wild card and you got to retool the team, it could be a little pricey. Where I think, you know, with Cooper, the Bills got like a low-end deal, man. It was like very, very cheap. But I like both of them. I mean, you know, Wilson is trying to find his way. He's going to have a receiver that knows how to communicate with Rodgers. I think they're going to have good chemistry and good communication. So it's going to help that out. It's going to take a lot of the weight off Wilson. We'll see a lot more single coverage. So, and then I think obviously with Cooper, you got Shakir and you got Kincaid. You got a guy who can create separation, can still push the leverage of the defense. And so I think it's really a win for both teams. I don't see, you know, how it's a negative in any way, shape, or form. But we missed talking about the Dolphins week. We won, dude. We won week 6 like nobody won. How can we not talk about that? It was like successful.
You're
Guys
right.
came back. The coaches said, don't worry about it. It was beautiful, man.
That is true.
It was. Tommy, what do you think about this? Does this help at all? I mean, it's Amari
for my team. Yeah, absolutely. I think it helps. Listen, I think it helps the Jets obviously too. Devontae Adams is a really good receiver, and Cooper. Say what you want about him this year. Of course, people are like, "Oh, drops." Listen, man, everywhere that guy's been traded to, he's put up massive numbers instantly. So when he got traded from when he was on the Raiders, went to the Cowboys, 9 games, 760 yards. He hit on right away. When he went from the Cowboys to the Browns, he had 1,100 yards with Jacoby Brissett. The next year, he had 1,250 which is last year, 2023, with Watson and Flacco. So he hasn't fallen off anywhere. If you just put up 1,250 yards, falling off is if your numbers are drastically dropping year after year after year after year. His numbers have not. We are struggling at the wide receiver group. There's no hiding that. Khalil Shakir has a high ankle sprain. If anyone has a high ankle sprain, Captain D, you know, they will linger very long, especially for a wide receiver who stops, cuts, running back, wide receiver that does, especially for Khalil Shakir, who's the slot, that it makes it really, really tough on him. So I don't think he'll be 100%, probably maybe the rest of the season. So we needed that addition to help, and it will help out the rest of the group. Like the Keon Coleman's, the Khalil Shakir, even though he's not 100%, Dalton Kincaid, it's going to open up the offense more. It's going to give Josh a more reliable target. Also, we're taking on less than $1 million on the contract. And the kicker is, if we don't keep Cooper, we still get a compensatory pick, a 5th or 6th. So it's a win for us. Like this wasn't a terrible decision on our part. We gave up a 3rd and a 7th. We got Cooper in a 6th, and we can get a compensatory pick if we choose not to re-sign Cooper in the offseason. So I think it was perfect. Now, on the other hand, for Adams to the Jets, listen, I think a lot of teams were on board with getting Adams or calling about Adams. They weren't on board with the contract. And that's why I think that trade was open for a while. And I think the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, pushed that deal to be done. Get his guy back on the Jets. And the Jets have to pay. They're going to have to pay, and they're the only team willing to bite. And this can either work great for you guys, Anthony, or it can really go sideways real quick. And if you look around the league, when they make desperate moves like this and they pay a lot of money for some of these premium players, it could turn around and bite you in the ass. So that's my only concern if I'm a Jets fan, is that contract. And how long is Aaron Rodgers going to stick around the Jets? How long, what kind of salary cap you guys looking at now moving forward? You still got the issue with the one guy that you traded for that still isn't on the field, that probably won't be on the field. So you have a lot of problems going on right now. You don't know who your head coach is going to be next year, and you're making moves like this. It just to me says desperate. It just has desperate written all over it. Go ahead, Anthony. Sorry.
Anthony,
no, you're good.
Talk to me here. Your boy got his boy. How much does it move the needle? I think this was a big pickup for the Jets, but where do you go from this?
All right, so let me start things off here. A 3rd round pick and $11 million for a receiver. Worst case scenario here, I think, is absolutely a steal, especially a receiver of Devontae Adams' caliber. He's on a team right now with a cap number of $3 million. If all things fail, like we're talking about here, like potentially like what happens next year, the Jets are on the hook next year for an $8 million dead cap and no other issues here. I mean, let's be real. That's middle of the season, you're looking for a top-notch receiver. If it costs you a third-round pick and $11 million, you 100% do it. I don't know if that necessarily screams desperation. This is a move that the Jets wanted to do last year when at the trade deadline. Raiders weren't willing to move him at the time because they would have to eat a lot more dead cap at the time. They said, next year we get a little more leniency on the cap if we trade him then. And it's been something the Jets have been talking about for a while. Just the Raiders were still kind of in that situation, like we don't know where we're going to be at. We don't know if we could win games, so on and so forth. And then eventually, I guess, Davante Adams and other players on the team were making business decisions, and then this move happened. I 100% thought this move was going to happen at some point or another, so I'm not against it. I thought it would go for around a second or a third-round pick, and that's exactly what it went for. What this does to this Jets offense is open things up. Right now, Garrett Wilson is the only fear in the passing game. Lazard has made his plays from his familiarity with Rodgers. He's been making a few plays here and there. But the real fear that defenses have right now with the Jets offense from a receiving standpoint is Garrett Wilson. Davante Adams coming here is going to open things up for Garrett Wilson, open the field a lot more, and Breece Hall will now get running lanes. This is like the whole point of why you make this move. Give as many playmakers, put as many playmakers around the field, and it'll open things up for everybody. Everyone's going to eat in this situation. It's not going to be a situation where Davante Adams is getting all the force feed because Garrett Wilson is a really solid receiver on the opposite side of the field. Not to Adams' caliber, but we all believe in Jets Nation and hope that he could eventually reach a point of being a prime time receiver. I 100% don't see much of an issue here. Could it be an issue next year if the Jets do decide to keep him around? He has a high cap number. Obviously, but there's also probably going to be a situation where they talk with him and try and work that contract out. He already restructured his contract with us this year to work with us to fit his contract in. Maybe there's something they can work through next year as well. This is, I think this is more than just a 1 year situation. I think the intention is he's going to be here next year as well, and we'll see how it goes. But I don't see much issue with the way this trade went out. I think.
If Rodgers sticks around, though, right, Anthony? Like, Rodgers leaves, just throwing this out there. I mean, he is on the other side of 40, and you're getting a new coach. Rodgers. I'm just throwing this out there. He isn't doesn't get along with coaches too well throughout his career, in my opinion. Also, too, like I said, does he want to go through another year of this with the Jets organization? I'm just throwing that out there. And if he leaves, Davante Adams, too, also has an issue with quarterbacks. Right? Went to Raiders, or they traded away Derek Carr, and then all of a sudden he don't want to be there no more. So I don't know. I just feel like I think it all depends as far as what you do with Adams depends on what you do with Rodgers. I'm gonna throw that out there. I don't think Adams will want to stick around even if Rodgers leaves. I don't think he wants to be a part of let's go find a quarterback of the Jets, and then you guys are right back looking, in the draft looking for another Zach Wilson. I mean, another who else did you guys?
Darnold.
Go get Darnold back, man.
Yeah, it is true. Trade for Darnold. You can trade back for Darnold.
But I touched on it. Worst case scenario, Rodgers doesn't want to be here next year, whatever. I mean, the Jets are on the hook for $8 million of dead cap.
But that's what I mean. I think they would. I think that's what I'm saying. I think they would wait and see what Rodgers has to do. But you right now, do you feel like you guys are like? Does this make you? Do you think you have a push for the playoffs now? Like for sure, is a clear path, or you still feel like there's a lot of holes right now, even with the addition?
I mean, I'm still very concerned with the defensive line, but I think the Jets are going to do something there. They're going to try and bring in someone to help stop the run because it's unacceptable what we've had the first few weeks of the year. But I mean, I still believe in this talent in this team. I mean, anybody who doesn't see this team and see the talents there, it just at the end of the day is going to come down to coaching. And I think that we got a little bit of an injection of some life this past week. I mean, I know Tommy, you have a little bit of you were a little bit more on the Bill side of things.
When Lazard looked like Jerry Rice out there, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, the guy led the league in drops. He's catching everything. Yeah, just throwing.
The Jets
couldn't believe it.
Jets did everything in their power last week to lose that game. I mean, the amount of penalties, the critical.
So did we. What are you talking about? We were up 20-10. We should have easily smoked you. Let's be real. We go at halftime, Anthony, 20-10. If our idiot coach doesn't do that, we have the ball coming out of the second half. We could possibly go up 23 or 27-10. By then, the life is sucked out of the stadium at that point. I'm just saying, I don't believe in that. Like, I think, look, it was a good game, but if anyone almost gave the game away, it was more or so the Bills, who were in control way early on. But giving up a touchdown with 20 seconds when you started the 20 or whatever, 27 seconds, that's outrageous. That should have turned. That is what turns any game around. Momentum is everything in the NFL. So I don't think you guys blew the game. By the way, field goals were atrocious. Don't give me your stupid kicker. Our stupid kicker missed field goal too. So like it was on both sides.
20-yarder. He didn't miss a freaking 20-yarder.
He missed an extra fucking point.
I'll take missing an extra point than missing 3 points on a give me field goal. I hear you with that shit. But listen, Davante Adams plays last week. Jets win that game. And even with Amari Cooper on the field for you guys. I mean, the Jets literally, in the red zone. Our red zone efficiency was terrible, man. I mean, come on. The red zone is where you guys won that game.
You guys ain't beating us.
We moved.
All right, real quick. Hold on, real quick, because I know Zach has got to leave soon, and I do want his input. Zach, real quick, from the outside looking in, quick thoughts on the trades and also a preview, because I know you got to go for the Patriots-Jags. I think Patriots-Jags, this could be a good game for Drake May to get some more positive stuff going. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have Davante Adams in fantasy, so I'm happy. Just like Davante Adams, I was also sick of Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. So we're kind of like one of the same there.
Right. That's true. Right, Gardner.
That was good. That was
now,
good. That was
unlike Davante Adams, I didn't fake a hamstring injury to get out of it, but that's all right. That's, just magically cured as soon as he gets traded. Just like that. He gets
sleepovers at Aaron Rodgers' house, baking cookies at night.
He's got the ayahuasca.
Oh my God.
He just right
just
away.
Magically is in the facility 20 minutes after the trade.
Right. In his fucking pajamas in Aaron Rodgers' room. Hey man, what's going on here? You all doing a video?
He's probably was at the game the night before. Like,
you're right.
He was somewhere
for sure.
Suites, like
trying on the uniforms. Oh yeah, this feels good.
He's trying to make a deal for number 17. Figure that out, and get all the important stuff done first. Get that rehab for the hamstring. But I think that the Amari Cooper trade is much more impactful. The Bills needed that guy, or a guy who could be that guy, and they got that now. It is honestly like pretty scary. I was in school when both of the trades went down, and I see Davante Adams, like, okay, yeah, we all knew that was coming, honestly, but kind of stinks. But it's the Jets, something is gonna go wrong. As per usual. But,
right. Something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah, just like how last year, Aaron Rodgers was the missing piece that they're gonna get back for this year, and there's always a missing piece. There's always
Zach is just throwing out there today. By the way, real quick, I see Victor talking about we signed a kicker to the practice squad. That guy's terrible. 35 of 53 in college. Okay, he's not taking over Bass's job. This is just for Bass to, like, basically them telling him, you're on the watch here, pal. We are willing to, we are willing to fire you. He's terrible. He's so bad. But 35 of 53 is no better than Tyler Bass. I'm not taking that kicker.
Gotta get Rodrigo Blankenship, Rod God. He's still unsigned, and that dude's a dog.
Yeah, I don't know. I Bass is so bad right now. But I'm not taking a guy who made 50% field goals in college almost. Yeah. I'm good with that.
But so as I was saying before, I started just crapping on the Jets instead of like giving football takes. I think that Bills trade, like, that scares me. Amari Cooper on that offense, that they're legit now. And they were legit to an extent before, but this gives them that extra step that, in my mind, kind of brings them from deep push in the playoffs to Super Bowl contention.
Yeah, Zach is a great guy, guys. See why I got this guy on this channel? What a good guy. Just a great stand-up dude, man. I tell you. Go ahead, Zach, man. Go ahead, Zach. Floor is yours, man. You're a great guy.
Thank you. So I hope that you feel the same. You give the same love towards the Patriots. I hope.
Of course, you guys are Super Bowl winners. Greatest coach of all time. Yeah, Tom Brady.
Man, these guys are like.
What the hell?
Me and Zach, man.
I give the Dolphins defense sucks. The Jets are gonna jet. The Bills, though.
The Bills. Super Bowl, baby.
Is Zach taking this from Tommy's mansion?
But that trade really does scare me. Like that is a guy that the Bills needed. They needed a true alpha number one receiver. They'll be able to get everything going now. We all know, I would assume, saw the clip. Josh Allen has that connection with Amari Cooper already, throwing it on the sideline to him. But yeah, I do think that unironically, I do think that they will build a very good connection, and that Amari Cooper is going to do damage on the Bills offense. And then Devontae Adams with the Jets. Like, I think it's a good move to an extent. A third round pick is a pretty, like, not super expensive price. Could be a second, but like it won't be. The Devontae Adams has already missed games this season. He hasn't been, the Devontae Adams. So he more than likely won't be an All-Pro. And as we all know, the Jets won't be in the AFC Championship or Super Bowl, so they don't have to worry about that part of the.
That is true.
We know it.
They put that condition on there for a reason. They put that condition on there for a reason.
But yeah, so I don't think it's going to turn into a second rounder. I would be pretty surprised if it does. So a third round pick just to take a shot on, a potential top 5 receiver upside guy. I guess it's worth it, especially when it's Aaron Rodgers' best buddy, his sleepover buddy from the night before the trade, or do whatever it takes to make that guy happy, because they haven't done enough already.
Ayahuasca.
Pillow fighting. That's good. But yeah, so again, that's kind of just a flyer that it's worth taking. I don't really know that it's going to make much of an impact, to be honest. The Jets are cursed. I don't know what it is at this point. Like, they have the roster, they kind of have the coaching staff, I guess. It's just there's something that's probably going to go wrong. I can't even tell you what it is. I don't know, but something will happen.
It's going to go wrong, I guess, the entire league. That's what's going to happen.
Anthony's been quiet the whole time.
How many times have we heard that one?
Listen, say what you want. There was a lot of Jets fans who felt overly optimistic about the Rodgers thing last year. I was not one of them. I thought maybe the Jets win 10, 11 games with him. Obviously, he got injured and we didn't see what that would look like. I was more optimistic this year because of the rebuilt offensive line, and obviously that offensive line is underperforming. I'm not one to look at the Jets and say all's well, be well. But this move obviously helps that offense in a major way, as I mentioned earlier, which just open things up for everyone else.
Yep. By the way, Fireman Dan very upset that he's not on the screen before halftime.
Fireman
Just
Ed.
want to look. Fireman Ed, sorry, he's very upset.
Man, Dan.
Went on social media, says you guys aren't putting him on the screen enough. What do you got to say about that, Anthony? Fireman Ed upset. You guys are just falling apart. You can't even keep your fucking Fireman Ed happy.
I got bigger things to worry about than Fireman Ed being on the I'm sorry.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever. I mean, it's 2-4. Let's get some wins. And then they'll put everybody on the fucking jumbotron.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. He's upset.
Real quick, Zach. I'm sorry. Let me get back on track. The chat, by the way, is awesome. There's a lot of people in the chat, and it's all good stuff. A lot of support. That's amazing. And obviously, we haven't talked Dolphins. The Dolphins had a bye. But real quick, Zach,
They won
before you leave, real quick,
Big time.
your styling and profiling, and then I need your input on Patriots Jags.
Yep. So my styling and profiling is honestly kind of easy. Drake May coming in, going against an elite defense, starting his first game, and obviously he had some turnovers, but I would say overall he played a very solid game. 3 passing touchdowns. It's tough to give it to anybody else. The defense was also like awful, so not giving it to anyone there. The rest of the offense was good enough, but not incredible. So for me, it is pretty simply just Drake May. He did what he had to do.
What about the boo this man, Captain D? Tell him so you can get the boo this man. Yeah, you gotta boo somebody.
This man.
You gotta boo
I don't know.
somebody.
See, it's tough for me because, like, I honestly I don't like booing my own players, but
Nah, you got to.
If I had to pick someone who hasn't lived up to what I would have hoped, and I think it's just rookie jitters, that type of rookie nerves, whatever. But Jalen Polk has had the drops recently.
Yeah.
He is caught a case of not being able to catch, and that's an issue for a guy who came into the league. First of all, like I was talking him up like crazy a few weeks ago. I was telling you guys like, hey, look out for Jalen Polk.
Him.
He was in the first, in the preseason training camp, the first few weeks of the season, and in college, very great hands. Like, he probably came into the league and I would have said he has like top 10 hands. He is a very great catcher, very skilled at the catch point. He does not drop passes. These last few weeks, he has not been catching passes. He is, I don't know what it is, but
Butterfingers.
yeah,
I heard there was
so.
an illness that went around the Patriots locker room, and he was the only one who couldn't catch it.
Oh my! Zach, man, Anthony's coming back at you now. Anthony's coming back.
It's all right. The Jets don't come back from like.
Oh no!
We only blow out the Patriots.
Oh well. Yep. Anyways, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. I just
you were on the
preview.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Jalen Polk, just not a great game. Like it, and I think that it's going to get fixed. I think that he is a very good receiver, but these last couple of weeks have been unfortunate to see. But again, he's a rookie. Like, things are going to happen. I'm not too worried about it.
Okay. What are you thinking, real quick? Patriots Jags. What are you thinking about that? And then we're going to go back to the other guys for the boo this man. Then.
Yep. You're the only guy who's going to be really thinking about it, so you might as well.
There you go.
It is.
There you go. Yeah. So I guess I'll start with my my prediction. I have the Patriots winning 23-17. I think that's what I had said. Maybe it was 24-7. I think 24-17. Switch it. 24-17. The Jaguars' pass defense is very bad.
Yep.
Drake May looked pretty good. 1 + 1 = 2. If you're picking up what I'm saying, I think that bad pass defense, good passing quarterback equals points, and that is not something that the Patriots have had a lot of this season. But hopefully.
What about your terrible offensive line? Does that come to play anywhere?
Curtis throwing a curveball.
Just
it always
wondering,
does.
you know?
It always does.
Yep.
Patriots are going to be rolling out their 7th different offensive line in 7 weeks. Like they every week have had a different lineup of starting linemen. So that's awesome. That's definitely what you want out of your team. Especially when you have a rookie quarterback. It's great. But I thought the offensive line looked decent enough in these last few weeks. Still like bad, but better than before. Hopefully they can at least hold up somewhat against the Jags, because I really do think that Drake May is kind of set up for a big game, and you got to hope that he can pull through. I think he can, as long as the offensive line pulls through. So offensively, I am somewhat hopeful that they can do good enough. Defensively, I just don't trust the Jaguars offense at all in anything. And maybe you guys can disagree with that, but
Yeah, they're playing your defense.
well, yeah, you're not wrong there.
But,
I mean, Trevor Lawrence has not been that good. Their receivers have not been all that good. Travis Etienne, for whatever reason, is just like not good at football anymore, and he also might not be playing tomorrow. I don't think he's been rolled out yet, but I believe he was like questionable or a game time decision. So I think that the Patriots defense can have kind of a bounce back game. I think the Patriots offense can finally start to put points on the board. And I do think that the Patriots will actually finally, for the first time since week 1, win a football game.
Okay. So real quick, I'm going to peel back before we preview. And Zach, you can hang on as long as you want. Just let me know when you got
Gotcha.
your
I think, by the way, Captain D, I think this is a flip of the OJ coin for the Jags and the Patriots.
Yeah,
all right.
I could agree with
Free
that.
the juice. All right, Bo, go ahead.
I'm going to peel back, and I want to get back to the styling and profiling with Tommy and Anthony for the Bills and Jets game. Tommy, who do you got?
Oh, style and profiling this week. I'm going to have to give it to my main man, Ray Davis. Ray Davis was a beast, man. Filled in for James Cook. I know a lot of people were like, who the hell's Ray Davis, right? Ray Davis made a little bit of a name for himself that night, even though the Jets' run defense isn't that great. But he still ran hard. He still showed a good change of pace running back that we need when James Cook returns, which, by the way, he is returning this week. But yeah, Ray Davis was key to that game. We got to be honest with you. The run game got going, which led to some easier passes by Allen. Allen was right there on my style and profiling, but I had to give it up to Ray Davis, who, came in kind of on short notice in a way for James Cook and ran like a dog. Also was the leading receiver in that game, which tells you everything you know about our receiving core. And that's why we got Cooper. But Ray Davis, style and profile.
Okay. What about your Buddhist man?
Buddhist man's easy. Tyler Bass, terrible. He's so awful. He's lost his confidence. Anytime kickers lose their confidence, guys, it's a wrap, bro. It is a wrap. I think he lost it about halfway through the season last year. And then obviously totally lost it against the Bengals. And I think somebody made a good point. I forget what channel I was watching, but they said the reason, because somebody asked, why didn't the Bills go and get a kicker for them to compete with him during the offseason? The reason was probably they were trying to because they kept saying, we believe in Tyler Bass, but they're probably trying to get his confidence back up and saying, hey, we trust you, Bass. And now our GM and S came out, I think 2 days ago, was like, hey, man, if we have to move on, we're going to move on. So, that has gone out the window. The confidence for him, they tried everything, and it's just not working. So, boo this man, Tyler Bass, continuing to miss extra points, field goals, and he's way off. At least their kicker hit the damn post. Our guy's just way off. So, boo this man, Tyler Bass.
Okay. Anthony, give me your thoughts. What are you thinking?
Style and profiling. I know I gave him a little bit of a hard time with a couple of plays I hoped he had done better at. But I got to give it to Breece Hall, right around 170 all-purpose yards. His best game of the season by far. He needed a game like that. New play call, I think, had a lot to do with it. I think there was a little bit more pre-snap design looks than what Nate Hackett was throwing out there. And I think that helped Breece Hall a lot. And obviously Garrett Wilson having the game he had, allowed them to take their eyes off Breece Hall a little bit more than what we had seen in the past. But yeah, I'm going to go with Breece Hall. Just wish he would have made those couple extra plays, as I mentioned earlier. That could have had a bigger impact on the game.
Okay. What do you think?
Boo this man?
Boo this man. And it better be Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
No. My boo this man.
No.
My boo this man would be obviously the kicker in this situation. This is a completely different game if he just makes the field goals he needs to make, including what was like a 23, 24-yard field goal. You're in the NFL, man.
Or something like that, but yeah, he shouldn't have made it.
Well, he missed a 30, but he also had wasn't one inside. 30?
I think they were both 30. I think they were like 30 and 40. Yeah, they were short field goals. Yeah.
Regardless, you're in the NFL. You need to be making those field goals.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Jets kind of. I mean, not saying that they would have done this. It would have been a pretty aggressive move, but they had a guy in training camp, Austin Seibert, who's now with the Commanders, and he's off to a really good start. Greg Zuerlein, towards the end of training camp, and really like the last preseason game, just showed last year he was hitting field goals and he was running right down the middle. You saw the accuracy back then last season when he was just drilling them from wherever they were on the field, right down the middle. In training camp and in preseason, he was kind of hovering up along the goalpost in a lot of those field goal attempts, while Seibert was kind of showing that promising range and accuracy on those field goals. They end up obviously releasing Seibert to go to the Commanders and kept Zuerlein around. They gave him a big contract in the offseason, so I understand the thought process there. But kind of wish they would have been a little bit more aggressive and get the guy who had a strong camp and a strong preseason and see how that rolls. When obviously the other kicker was having some sort of confidence issues with his field goals. But yeah, boo this man goes to Greg Zuerlein. You got to make those field goals. He makes field goals. He win against Denver. He makes field goals. Probably win against the Bills, depending on how the game plays out. We're easily 4-2, 2-4 versus 2-4 if you can hit those game-winning field goals.
Okay. So, Zach, I want you to stay with me as long as you can, because things are about to get interesting. God, this was tough to get through, because we finally get to talk about Week 7 in the Miami Dolphins. We have missed the Miami Dolphins. We are here to talk Dolphins.
All right, guys, I got to head out.
The Miami Dolphins are headed on the road. Let's start off Week 7 talking about the Dolphins. Colts. Curtis, go for it.
Well, it's so hard. Every once in a while I come across games. It's very difficult for me to really get a peg of like what my team's going to do, because you don't know if you're going to get Flacco or Richardson. Looks like Richardson, but you don't know how long he's going to stay. And he's really a big unknown. You look at him. I think he's got about 24 carries, averaging 6.7 yards per carry. His completion percentage is low. But this offensive line is a different animal than anything. It's so much better when you include the secondary players of the tight ends. They got one guy, he's like 6'5", 267. And so you're going to have an offensive line that can move people. You have a guy that's 244. And it's going to put a little bit of a quandary for what Weaver likes to do. For the longest time, the Dolphins have struggled against mobile quarterbacks, whether it's Lamar. We had the one game with Flores, we blissed them out of oblivion. But other than that, we've really struggled. And so this team can run the football, can move guys. Our front likes to pack the box. We like to blitz. And without Phillips, without Chubb, we got soft edges. And so it's going to really come down, they're terrible at tackling. They've got 51 missed tackles, between second and fourth, tied for worst in the league. You got Wright, who, the PFF has an elusive rating. He's got 128 elusive rating, which is insane. So in his limited duties, he's been able to make guys miss. We haven't broken too many tackles, but Mostert can. Achan's going to be playing, and he's super fast. It's going to come down to these backs being able to carry the football, break tackles, us not having too many penalties. They're pretty good in the penalties because they're going to be able to run that football. They're going to be able to not go 3 and out so much like what we've seen, where we can just get those extra runs and wear teams out. So we're going to have to kind of put between 17 and 23 points a game. And we've only been averaging 12. We're going to have an opportunity on this turf to be faster. They've been putting up a lot of points. They put up 27 against Texans. It was at home. They put up like 24, 27, I think, against the Steelers at home. So they've had some success at home. We can't do our usual 3 and outs, give the ball back, because they're going to grind. They might stop after 6 or 7 plays, but they're going to move guys. They don't have Taylor, thankfully. It's a big deal. So we're going to have to get this run game going. And if you look at yards before contact, we're averaging 2.4. They're averaging 3.4. And we kind of, our front struggles a little bit. So we might want to blitz. But then if you blitz, it can become a problem. Now with Richardson, like it's Flacco or Richardson. Who do you choose? Well, Richardson, you're going to have to control your pass rush lanes. You're not going to be able to go all out the way you might want to. You might even have to keep a spy sometimes. And all that stuff does is put a little bit more hesitancy in the defense and moves just a tick towards the Dolphins. And so they're not going to be able to have these quick outs on our offense. Again, it's going to come back to us running football. They suck. They're 32nd. They miss tackles. And they're not really good in the pass game. And I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago or last week or something. It showed that last year defenses gave Waddle 6.7 yards per cushion. They've crunched that up to 4.9. They're daring, and they've backed off Hill a little bit. OBJ, I don't know. He's got problems, mental problems, physical problems. He missed practice. Is he going to show? Is he not going to show? It's kind of crazy, you know. So Jonnu, you're going to be able to count on. You got Hill and Waddle. And then the running backs. We're going to have to make something happen. Waddle's going to have to break this. If they want to play tight, let him break it over the top. But, can Huntley do it? So, again, it's going to fall back to these running backs. They're going to have a special day. I don't think they have to have 193 like last week, but it's going to have to be a little bit more consistent early. But you look at the Jags, you look at the Patriots. We had some runs early, some stops, but then as we got time of possession, got their offense off quickly, they started breaking down. And so we're going to have to break them down, but it's not going to be able to – it's going to be from us running the football early, having a few longer drives, and then getting to them quicker without having this defense have to get them off the field within 3 drives. This is not going to be an easy game. This team is 3-3. You look at their schedule. They played a lot of tough teams on the road against Green Bay without Love, but still not easy. They played Tennessee Titans with Simmons. We didn't have them. It's going to be a hard game, but it's going to come down to McDaniel, who's got 2 weeks to show he's the guy. It's going to come down to this run game doing their thing and Weaver being smart. I don't know if we're going to win. We've got to win. If we don't, it is a step off the cliff to never land of rebuild. So I'm hoping we win. I like Wright. I love Mostert. And I like Achan. And I think we can do our thing, and we've got to. But it's going to come back to McDaniel you can't have special team errors. You can't have loads of penalties. This team most likely won't give you what the Patriots gave you. 120 yards, of sloppy football. And so, and I think their defense is a little bit better than the Patriots right now. They've got some guys in the secondary. They got a full complement. Latu and Kitty Pay are not bad. Even their defensive tackle is pretty good. The linebackers suck. So, and they don't blitz. Patriots blitz us a lot, and they play compact leverage in the box and big bodies. And that kind of can help you out because once you break to that second level and there's less guys there. So I'm hoping we win. I don't know if we're going to. I think it's going to be a tough game. We're going to have our best offensive output. I think they're going to get to the 17 to 20 range. And all it takes is all Richardson has to do is break a couple and get a few extra drives for that offensive line to continue to bash away on a very thin front. So I'm going to go with the Colts lose because I want to. I mean, I hate Greer. I really do. I mean, I would have a hesitancy to say that, but watching him slink into the corner during the Titans game, that just took any hope for this guy away. I really don't like him. He's got to get fired. But like I said, there's so many people that are on my channel, and they're like, I don't know if I'm going to be around next year. I got health problems. I'm tired of this. I want to give up on being a Dolphins fan. So it's like, for me, my evaluation is my evaluation. But at a certain point, the fan in me, the human in me, just wants to go for hopium. And so I'm hoping we win for 3-3 to get some kind of life. Because if we lose, it is finito Mussolini. It's done.
What's your score prediction?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, man. 23-21 Dolphins.
And I think Zach has to go, and then Anthony has a short amount of time.
I gotta head out, but I'll see you guys next week. Yep. See you guys.
All right, Zach.
Have a great night. See you
later, brother.
Be good, brother.
And Anthony has 10 minutes. So,
all right,
Anthony, you know what? Anthony actually just get to his game so he could quick give his score prediction, and then he can bounce because I know he has to go somewhere.
Yeah,
this way
hop over this. Victor's in my way over here.
Yeah, Victor's.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Yeah, look what we do to the Jets fan.
No,
go ahead, Anthony.
All right, so yeah, I'll touch on the Jet game obviously here. So Sunday Night Football, all the good vibes. Devontae's here. Obviously, the biggest fear I have with this Steelers team obviously comes down to their defense. TJ Watt against this offensive line, who, as I mentioned earlier, has been underperforming pretty significantly. Jets have to figure it out. They've got to figure it out. They got to be able to stop this guy from being a game wrecker because I mentioned earlier this week on one of my podcasts that Steelers have no problem winning football games 12-10 if that's what they have to do. If they have to stop you and pummel you and beat you down all game long and just hit those 4 field goals, we saw them do it against Atlanta in week 1. They are more than happy to be that football team to win football games that way. At the end of the day, a win's a win. That's the way that Tomlin has been since he's been there. I think he's been over 500 almost every season he's been a coach with the Steelers. So pretty impressive record there. But the biggest thing I would say that the Jets need to do here, and it's something they do pretty consistently with Rodgers, getting the ball out of their hands in under 2.5 seconds. When opponents do this to the Steelers, their passer rating is immaculate, 104.5, versus when you don't do that, you're talking about a passer rating that's, I want to say it's somewhere in the 60s. So you've got to get the ball out. Rodgers does it second highest rate in the league at around 55%. Yeah, they've got to get the ball out. He's got to make his quick reads, and that's something he does, second highest rate in the league. So that's going to be the biggest key to this whole game. And this defense, man, has got to figure out how to stop the run. It's been 6 weeks now, and there's been too many games, where they just have lapses somewhere in the middle and just allow the other team to have chunk runs. Saw it against the Bills this last week. We saw it against Denver. We saw it obviously week 1 against San Francisco. And it's not even like the top tier running backs doing it. James Cook was out this week for the Bills. The Niners had McCaffrey out that game. It's just whoever the running back is, it doesn't matter who it is. These lanes are opening up huge, and the first player to even have a hand on the running back is a safety, and that's obviously not a recipe for success. So they've got to figure out what the hell's going on in the running game, who's not getting in their lanes, if it requires more, run blitzing and early downs to kind of give yourselves a little bit of a breather on that, middle down, second and third down. You got to figure it out. You cannot allow other teams to just have their will on you, especially coming out of the gate like it was against Buffalo. So that's got to get straightened out because, again, Pittsburgh, say we want Najee Harris, not what he was in the past. Warren can, get chunk plays as well. They will run the ball. They will attack your weakness. They have no issue with doing that. And that's probably what the defense needs to figure out, because from a pass defense standpoint, they're still mostly holding their own. Obviously, Chuck Clark going down last week wasn't favorable. Ashton Davis was a little bit of a liability back there in coverage. But I think going into this week, I was very pessimistic with everything going on with this team. That trade for Devontae Adams was everything that this locker room needed. They just need that faith from this front office that there's still hope. There's still something there. Go on a little stretch run here, and we might have a sniff, might have a shot this playoffs. And you got to win games against opponents that will probably be vying for those 4, 5, 6, whatever seed in the playoffs. And Steelers are going to be one of those teams. You've got to win those games in order to get those tiebreakers. And I think that this is a game that they've kind of got to get it all turned around. And if they don't, obviously, things aren't going to look too bright moving forward. But I do have the Jets winning this game. I got 2017, low scoring overall. But they got to turn around.
All right, Anthony. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Today,
problem,
brother.
guys.
I know you had to go early, so we'll see you next week.
Yep.
All right,
Talk
brother.
to you guys later.
Later, Anthony.
Go Jets.
Go Bills. Later, Anthony.
Talk to you guys later.
Later, brother. So Captain D, let's swing back around to the Dolphins, Colts, and we'll do the Patriots and then the Bills or whatever. We'll go back. So you want to continue with the Dolphins?
Yeah, we'll
work
do
for
Dolphins.
And then go back
Colts.
to the Patriots and then the Bills. Okay, cool.
What are you thinking, Tommy? Dolphins?
So first of all, like what a lot of people aren't talking about here is the X factor, and that's the head coach and Tony Dungy. I just think he's Colts really.
So what?
Oh man!
If y'all don't know, it's a running joke because I made a mistake a couple weeks ago with the head coach and who was it? Pete Carroll, Mike Carroll. Anyways, so Tony Dungy, Peyton Manning's going to go off on you guys. So, anyways, look, here it is, man. By the way, you guys are getting Tua back. It seems like next week. So, this win here, if you guys could beat the Colts, obviously that gives you some hope for the remainder of the season now that you are getting Tua back, which is obviously something that you want to do here. But I got to say, man, I think if the Colts start Richardson, I think it's a mistake. I do. I think I understand they want to get the young kid back in there. He has potential, but I think Flacco is just he's one of those guys, man. You put him on he comes in as backup and he brings a spark to your team. And I think right now, I think if I'm the Colts ownership, I am sitting Richardson behind Flacco for the rest of the season just to kind of see how it's done from a veteran point of view, because they're not going to keep Flacco. Flacco is just there 1 year and then he's gone. And I think Flacco gives them a better chance. And I think this game's close. I do. I think you're in Indy in this game. They're 3-3. You guys are 2-3. They're 2-1 at home, so they're not terrible at home. And like I said, I think if they start Flacco, that would be the correct decision. I think if they start Richardson, they lose this game. I think if they start Flacco, they win. So I have a weird toss-up on this because I have no idea what they're doing yet, and I don't think anyone does at this point. But I feel like last week or the week before when you guys had the win against the Patriots, I felt like your coach finally kind of got it and dummied down the playbook a little bit for your quarterback, and you saw the results. A much better play from your quarterback. So, I think this game's close, man. I do. I still don't think you guys are right without Tua. I think you guys are dumbing down the playbook a little bit. And I don't think the Colts are all that, but I think the Colts are decent at home. I'm going to go low scoring. I'm going to go 17-14 Colts if they start Flacco. If they don't start Flacco, I think 17-14 Dolphins.
Okay. What are we thinking about? Let's go to Jets Steelers. Anthony touched on it. What do you think?
I think so. Listen, man, I think the Steelers win this game. I do. Once again, it's in Pittsburgh. That is a tough place to play. You don't know what you're going to get out of Adams right away. Obviously, Rodgers and Adams, they do have chemistry from playing with in Green Bay together. But I still think I got to be honest too. I wasn't a fan of Saleh, but I think that kind of hurts their defense a little bit, and I saw it last week a little bit. So that it's not necessarily a good thing. that they fired Saleh so early in the season. A little surprising. I think he deserved to be fired at the end of the season if they didn't get in the playoffs, but a little odd to fire him so quickly. And I think that was more on Rodgers, even though the owner said no. And I think they're just trying to do anything right now to please Aaron Rodgers by bringing in Adams, pretty much bringing everyone he ever played with, and it's just not working. And I think Mike Tomlin is one of the better coaches in the league. He's going to out-coach their interim coach, in my opinion, in Pittsburgh. That place is going to be very loud. Rodgers is not mobile. Matter of fact, if you watch last week's game, Captain D, against us, Rodgers was every time he got hit, he was looking like an old man. Like he was like having a tough time getting up off the ground, and you could tell it's wearing on him. Right, the age is kicking in, and that's normal. But I think he's taking a lot of hits this year, and we on a couple of those plays, we really, AJ Epinesa drilled him multiple times, man. And I just don't know. I think Pittsburgh's going to get after him even more because Pittsburgh is more aggressive, way more aggressive than the Buffalo Bills are on defense. They got. I feel like they got a better line than us right now. So they're going to get after Rodgers. So I just don't see them winning against a well-coached team at home. So I have the Jets losing, and I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Low scoring again. I'll go Pittsburgh 20, Jets 16, 2016.
Okay. Curtis, what are you thinking? Are the Jets' problems all solved with the addition of Mr. Devontae Adams? How do you see this game panning out?
I think that the Jets season could be on the line. So, Wilson has a tendency to not be able to throw fast. He has a tendency to scramble around and drag the clock up late. And I think that plays into what the Jets do well. They're going to have to definitely run the football. And the Jets can't stop the interior run. And they've been better at running the football. And that defense is good. Cat, get down, dummy. He's raining outside, so he came in and he wants to clean me off. Dude, I'm wet. Rubbing half everything. Character. So I don't know. If the Jets are really anything, they're going to win this week. If not, they're finito. They have the potential because they can make some big plays. Oh, you see, there he is. Won't go away, man.
Be part of the show, Curtis. Let him be part of the show. It's all right. There he is.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, what's his name? Introduce us.
Lucky. Can you believe this guy? He was left his mother. Did you stop it? Stop it, Lucky.
Lucky.
Oh, man. This guy was left. His mother abandoned him because he has got weird legs. So the mother had a huge storm at my friend's house. The storm came. The mother put all the babies, the kittens, on top of the windowsill to avoid the flood. And then she left everyone but him. So I got him at 5 days old.
No.
And he's just been living La Vida Loca. He's a fat slob. And he just bosses everybody around. Wakes me up at all hours. So that's what I got. So he's a good boy. I love him. And he's amazingly a good hunter, even though he's totally fat with big old legs. I guess he's pretty smart. So anyway, if the Jets just simply go under center more and they work out of under center, Rodgers has been struggling for years because he lives in shotgun. And I think that you saw against the Bills, they were able to do some different things. They were able to have different looks. They got a little too cute early in the first half. They got very cute in the second half. I'm going to say the Jets win because their season's on the line. I don't think they're going to, but I think that Rodgers and this team, they're so desperate. I'm going to say 21-17 Jets. If they because they got all the talent. I mean, Morgan Moses And even Smith, who they got from the Steelers, you can't keep these guys in shotgun, throwing obvious and telling everybody what you're doing. It's like you don't set your offensive line up for success. So I'm banking that they're going to have some kind of intelligence. I'm not sure if Wilson's going to come in. He looked terrible. So I'm going to go Jets, 21-17.
You know what I forgot to mention, though, too, Curtis? The Jets are terrible against the run. Not terrible. They're down there. They're one of the worst.
Yeah.
And Najee Harris is he's a physical running back, and he got going the other week. He was looking like the guy that they wanted out of the draft. Like he is a good player, and going against that team, if Ray Davis can do that against the Jets, Najee Harris should be able to have a field day. And Justin Fields isn't the greatest passer, but with his legs is a problem. So
it's going to be Wilson this week.
No, yeah, but I guarantee they say that. I promise you their coach will sprinkle in. There's no way that he's not going to put Fields out there as well. I promise you, knowing that the Jets defense and how good Fields has been with his legs, I promise you that even though Wilson is going, Fields will be on the field at times on offense. They will take Wilson out for Fields at certain times of the game. I could definitely see that happening, and I don't know why. I have no idea what occurs. Okay, so I'm telling you that's going to play a factor. So look out for that, because I like I said, man, Tomlin's is a bright guy. He knows film doesn't lie, and the Jets cannot stop the run right now. So he's definitely going to. And now that he has Wilson back, he has that threat of. And by the way, it's not like this isn't a situation where Russell Wilson is this young quarterback. He wants to have him in there. It's bad for Russell Wilson to be pulled out back and forth with Fields. It has nothing to do with that. So Tomlin's going to do that probably the remainder of the season, where he's going to mix both in throughout the remainder of the year. That's how I see it, because Wilson's not going to be there long term, and Fields are still checking out. So I definitely can see that being a part of this game and being a factor, and that's why I also think that the Steelers win this game.
Amazing how good they've gotten, huh?
It really is. Yeah, but the Steelers are Mike Tomlin can always figure things out. He's a really good coach, and that's why that is the X factor. Like, for real, the head coaching going against an interim head coach and a new offensive coordinator as well. Being in a very loud stadium, Pittsburgh brings the juice, man. Their fans are legit. They travel very well as well, even when they go to other stadiums. So that will play a factor as well. So I just think they have the advantage with coaching and being at home and the running game.
What's your score there?
I think I said, what did I say, D? I think 2016. I think I said.
I believe
21-16,
so, yeah.
2016. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's low scoring, but I think the Steelers can win time of possession because they're going to run the ball a lot. So I think they'll have long drives that just kind of kill the clock on the Jets. That's how I see this game going. So long drives by Pittsburgh, controlling the clock, and they'll just get beat up like that.
Yeah.
I just think Pittsburgh's a more physical team than the Jets on offense, how they run their offense.
Real quick, Garrett Grimes with a good comment referring to the Dolphins coach. Huntley having 2 more weeks in the system is going to help immensely. Miami needs to run the ball at least 25 to 30 times and take their shots downfield to test their safeties. I couldn't agree more, Garrett Grimes. But last but not least, we had the Tennessee Titans visiting.
Well, it's time to go, guys. It's been a great time.
Yes.
Dreaded Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Tommy, we'll start with you. What's your thoughts on this?
Look, man, the Tennessee Titans, believe it or not, number 1 defense in the NFL. So they're not like a pushover by any means, but they are coming to Buffalo, and we haven't been home in about a month. It's been a long time since we had a home game, and I guarantee you the crowd always is lit, but it's going to be extremely loud, considering they haven't seen a home game in a month, and the addition of Amari Cooper. So Bills Mafia is going to bring it. So that I think plays a factor. Also, the Titans quarterback is a turnover machine this year. I don't know what happened to him. it's odd, man, because Will Levis rookie year was not that bad. I just feel like this year he's just trying too much and he's just making terrible decisions. And you can't do that. They're costly mistakes. So as far as good as their defense is, I just think, their offense is just as bad, right? So I feel like there's going to be turnovers in this game, good field position that the Bills will wind up getting on offense, which will lead into points. James Cook is returning. Ray Davis, believe it or not, got an injury during practice, a calf thing, so he may or may not play, but it's okay. James Cook obviously is the starter. And I think Ty Johnson's pretty good as well as an RB3, which will be an RB2, so I have no problem with a running game. And I think this thing gets going, man. I think you're going to see Cooper possibly have our first 100 receiving yard game. They'll probably dummy down the playbook for Cooper, meaning he'll just have a certain amount of plays that he's going to work with because he probably doesn't know the full playbook by yet. It's only been 4 days. But I guarantee he is the focal point on offense, at least for the receivers. And he will make everyone's job a lot easier. So I don't think this one's close. I think because the Titans' offense is so sloppy, it's going to give us better field position. So which will lead into points. So I'll say 34-13 Buffalo wins.
Curtis, the Titans the past 2 years have not been very friendly to the Dolphins. Could they help us in any way by going on the road and maybe pulling off an upset tomorrow? What do you think?
Well, I think Sweat was a steal, man. I really wanted him.
Yep.
This guy
He's so good, bro.
A beast. I mean,
So
he's
good.
faster than I thought. And then you pair him with Simmons. And I think the interesting thing is going to be is with Brady, what does he do when the inside run game doesn't get off? And so I think that the Bills are going to win. They've got issues. They're right. The Titans' right tackle. They had a guy they spent. I forgot Pete. I can't remember the guy's name. It's like a French thing. He's been really underperforming, and so now they got him benched. I don't know if it's because of injury, but they got some issues on their offensive line. Levis likes to cause turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a great run game. They got some talent in the receiving department, but if you don't got an offensive line, they got half an offensive. On the left side's pretty good, all the way up to center. This defense, I think they're going to make it a little bit challenging in the first quarter, but then after that, it's going to kind of fall apart. I think 13. I guess Tommy said, but I don't think it's going to go to 34. Maybe I think maybe like a 30 or 27 to like 13 type thing. But yeah, I think it's a foregone conclusion. But I'm very interested to see how Brady responds when maybe he's not able to run inside early. And obviously you got Cooper now, so you're gonna be able to tax. Is Snead gonna wake up or is he asleep? I mean, he's had a terrible season after being a good player. So how he performs and how they're able to attack that right tackle, and how many points does Levis give the Bills is going to be the key factor. But I think it's over. I think the Bills.
By the way, Victor, Ed Oliver was back at practice, so he will be available from everything I heard for the game. So that's another thing too. Back to Buffalo is we're getting a lot of guys back on defense. The only guy right now that we're really waiting on, the only guy we're waiting on is Von Miller to return. That's week 9, and then Matt Milano should be also back in December, hopefully, to complete the defense. So. Getting guys back on defense is key. You saw what Teron Johnson did on his first game back. He was a beast, man. You have to have those players. So, yes, Ed Oliver is back, and he'll be playing.
Okay. I think we covered pretty much everything. Dolphins news. It looks like A-Chain might be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I think he's gone. It looks like he's cleared.
Yep. Isaiah Wynn, I mean, it's still a question mark. No Odell Beckham, but let's go Dolphins. Curtis, I appreciate you giving me the keys to the.
Oh, rant! You want to do the rants? Anyone have a rant?
Oh, does anybody have a rant?
Rant of the week?
No, I'll pass for right now. I don't have
Curtis?
I'm gonna save it all for next week. I mean,
For next week,
I'm gonna be positive. Why not?
Okay.
Rock and roll. We're winning bye week. Let's just stay happy.
All right, I'll go refs. I think the refs are. I was giving credit to the refs for the first 3 weeks. I thought they did a little better than they were in seasons past, but holy crap, that was atrocious. Like I've never seen that many flags being thrown. Listen, the reality is, and I tell everybody, you could throw a flag literally on every play if you really wanted to be a stickler. There is penalties probably on every single play in college and the NFL on every single down. There's somebody holding or doing something that you can call a penalty for. The refs have to let these guys play at times. Like if it's my God, like they're the craziest, silliest penalties that they're calling. And I think they do need more people reversing some of these calls. And they need to do a better job. So if they call a penalty, they need to have somebody that's up there, like a review real quick to chime in and say no. And I think they do have that, but they're not using it well. And like I said, once again, the Matt Collins one, yeah, it went my way. I was happy. Of course, we're happy when things go our way. But if I was a Jets fan, I would have been pissed. I mean, it was that was not catchable. I don't even know how they could consider that a pass interference. If you want to call holding there or some other penalty, 5 yards, okay, I guess, but it's just they got to get it right in time because they're costing teams. Not only that, they're costing the fans, like I think, a more funner thing to game to watch because that game was.
Did you get that? You can get that in college there, more funner.
More
what
funner.
A Bills fan. What a Bills fan.
More funner. More funner. A more funner game to watch.
You gotta do something,
I think
Tommy.
funner.
You're
I
in
think
first
funner.
place. I gotta take it out somehow.
Yeah, so I want to break it to you. So we're 2.5 games up on the East, 3.5.
That's more funner than I'm having
on the Jets. So I'm having a funner time right now as a Bills fan than you lousy Jets and Dolphins fans. Hey, by the way, Zach's a great guy. All right. So that's
really
it.
Cool. I like him.
Yep. Yeah, Bill's telling the truth, man.
That was good.
I'm little boy toy. Real blast.
Oh my God.
Real blast.
So, real quick, guys. So next week, for everyone that is in here, because I know a lot of you guys are from Ace Per Head. If you guys want to continue to watch AFC East Shakedown, we do this every week at 4:00 on Saturdays, but we go to different channels. So next week we'll be going to Jets Life podcast. That was Anthony. So Anthony will be hosting next week on his channel. So go to Jets Life podcast and subscribe because that's where you will see this show next week. And then it'll be back on Mafia Sports Report and then back on Ace Per Head. Like that's the rotation.
It's more funner over here.
It's a lot more funner. That is a lot more funner over here.
Sorry, Tommy.
So, hey, funner is a word.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
All right.
Anyway,
So
guys,
lead us out here, Captain D.
D, I really appreciate it, man. I didn't have to do the whole monkey biz, man. You took the weight off me. I got to be able to poke fun and focus on the comments. I enjoyed it.
I appreciate it, man. It was fun. Thank you. It was
guys. I appreciate all the comments, showing up. Tommy, you're the man. I love you.
I love you too, man. You did a great job too, Captain D, by the way. You did a really good. Yeah. Hey, everybody, give Captain D a round of applause because that was honestly first time hosting, first time ever really doing a podcast like this. So honestly, man, good job. Great job. Guys, I appreciate everything. Have a great weekend. And Tommy, what I always say. Go Bills. I know. Oh, my God.